Godzilla is going to destroy the country of Japan himself. Your nuclear fanatics don't know what they've created. This new Godzilla is unfriendly, and he's going to destroy your country. There's nothing you can do about it. Your country has no future now.
LP 2000 right back at you with another video. Yes. Welcome back to another edition of Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Collect All Monsters. And look at, let me get this out the way right now, ladies and gentlemen. This thing is awesome. This thing is badass. This thing is so amazing. Oh my God. And if you recall my last video when I did the X Plus Gigantic Series, Rick Exclusive Edition of the Burning Godzilla 2019, from Godzilla King of the Monsters 2019, I teased at the very end of that video that the next video, which would be this video, I will tackle something from the Heisei, and I put in that Heisei Godzilla roar to kind of give you an idea of who I will be covering here. Now with that roar, that could only mean three versions of Godzilla: the 84, the 89, and of course the 91. And you already clicked the title, you know exactly who we're covering here. So without further ado, let's dive head first into this awesome, brilliant, spectacular, amazing 40cm resin model kit review. And today we're taking a look at the 40cm resin model kit of the Horizon 1991 Godzilla. Yes, my favorite design, my favorite version of Godzilla from the Heisei period. One of my most favorite Godzilla films of all time. Yes, it is, believe it or not. It is one of my most favorite films of all time in the franchise. It's number 3 on my top 10 favorite Godzilla films list. 1991's Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. And as you can see, I have the beautiful model kit in all its glory. Yes, it's beautiful. It's amazing. It's all that good stuff. Oh my God, this thing is awesome. Yes, it is. Now, normally around this part of the video, we would go into the packaging before I get into the figure itself, or the model kit itself, I should say. But I don't have the packaging. Actually, you know what? Let me just go into the backstory on how I got this figure, and I'll let you know what happened to the packaging. Again, this is the 40cm resin model kit of the Horizon 1991 Godzilla. And Horizon is no different than, you know, KOC, Monster Maker 28, or any of these other model kit companies that are out there, you know what I mean? Don't really know much about them. And from what I understand, they don't have many model kits under their belt. I think this is a company that just got started within the last 2 years, because this guy came out late last year, or sometime last year in the year of 2021. And you kind of notice that's been like a recurring theme on my channel in regards to the model kits I have reviewed, like the Tengetsu Crafts 1971 Godzilla, the 50cm that had it morphed into the 1972 Godzilla. That came out last year, and that kind of slipped under my radar. Or the 30cm Resin Chef Megaguirus. That came out last year. And again, that was another one that's kind of slipped under my radar. Because I've been only getting into these model kits just for the past year. So I haven't been on the up and up on when these things are released, you know what I'm saying? But in regards to this kit in particular, I saw pictures of it popping up, I want to say several months ago, quite frankly. I know a couple kit builders did have this kit, and it did look amazing, but at the time, you know, I didn't have the money for it, nor did I have a way of trying to find one, you know what I'm saying? Because again, I don't really know much about the Horizon kits, but I did know that I wanted to get this at some point. I just didn't know how I was going to get it, you know what I'm saying? Then this year at G Fest, when I went to G Fest, you know, I got a couple kits from the Kaiju Modelers table, and I struck I won't say an exclusive deal with them, but I did struck a deal with them. Like I said, hey, I'm getting more of the model kits now. And if you're able to find some of these cool kits that may not be available out there in the wild on eBay or whatever, because I think they have a direct tie with some people in Japan on getting these kits, which is why they have so many cool kits when they go to G Fest or any of these other shows that they show up at, right? So I struck a deal with them and said, hey, if you got any cool kits that may come your way in your inventory, please let me know. And then they hit me up, I want to say maybe early August, I think. Early August or late August. And they said they had this kit for sale. So I jumped at the chance of getting this kit because, again, the 1991 Godzilla is my second most favorite Godzilla design of all time, behind the 64. In a way, it's kind of like a 1.5. I love the 64 so much that it almost makes me feel sad that I would want to replace the 64 with the 91, but that's how much I love the 91. To me, the 91 is the definitive version of the Heisei Godzilla. If Godzilla was a real creature, right? If Godzilla was to walk out of the ocean today, I would want to see the 91 walk out. You know what I'm saying? Then again, I don't, because he would wreck crap. But again, I so love the 91. I know Gojira 851 loves the 91, just like I do. And there have been cool representations of the 91 as far as like Kaiju collectibles. The first ones that comes to mind are of course, the X Plus Sakai 91s that were based off the Sakai kits, right, of the 91. But I have to say, this one right here kind of blows them out the water, and I will go more into that later on. So again, I got this from Kaiju Modeler, and then I try to get Marcellus Winters to get this kit done because he's become one of my most go-to guys when it comes to building and painting these model kits, and he's blown up. You know what I'm saying? Ever since I got a few kits and I had sent his way, a few other people have contracted with Mark to have their kits built. So he's in high demand right now. He's always been in high demand, quite frankly, but he's more so in high demand now. So I asked him, could he build this kit? He was like, man, I'm kind of backlogged at the moment. Like, I'll get to it, I will, but it's going to take me some time. And I didn't want to put any more burden upon him because, again, he is swamped with kits at the moment. He's trying to get them out as fast as he can. And I didn't want to add a lot more pressure onto him. Enter Marcellus Winters. Yes, you've heard his name on my channel many times before. I've had him on one of my streams, and he's a highly positive collector in the community. Real awesome guy. You know him, you love him, Marcellus Winters. And he and I are actually great friends. And for the past several months, he's been telling me that he's been trying to get into the model building kit game, the building model kit game. And he asked me certain questions about what he should do or who he should contact to get tips, stuff like that. And I tried to help him as best as I could. Because again, I don't know anything about building and painting these kits to have them look like just how they were in the film. I don't know anything about that, but I do know people that can help him with that. So I try to steer him in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? And I saw him at G Fest. We hung out at G Fest, and he won first place in the G Fest modeler's room. He won first place for an awesome gargantua setup that he put together. And I think he won second place for a Harryhausen setup that he had. I think the Kraken. You know what I'm saying? So after seeing those works of art and hear him how he put it all together and how he painted this kit and how he made all the dioramas just look flawless, in my opinion, that got my gears turning. Because again, I'm getting more into these model kits now, and I don't want to just bombard with Mark Sangang with everything, quite frankly. That's why I contract with him. I contract with David Eric Dopko, John Tesensis, John LeGrand, It's great to have a variety of collectors, or at least a variety of artists that you can go to, that where you're not just going to just one person, quite frankly. So after seeing Marcella's work, awesome, stunning work at G-Fest, I was like, you know what? He might be a great guy to contract to do one of these kits for me. And so when I secured this kit from Kaiju Modeler, after, Mark Sangang was like, look, I'm backlogged, I can help you out, but it'll be like a long time from now. And again, I didn't want to burden him with more work that he's trying to work through right now. I contacted Marcellus and I said, hey, you think you can do this for me? And he was like, well, I think I can. I'm like, I'm just starting out, but he said, but if you willing to give me a chance, I will knock it out of the park for you. And Marcellus has done exactly that with this kit, you know what I'm saying? And I don't have the packaging for it. Again, I have Kaiju Modeler send the kit to Marcellus. He built and painted for me. He just sent back the fully intact kit. Didn't really need the packaging, but here's a picture of what the packaging looks like, with a picture of Godzilla's face, Horizon, Godzilla's King Ghidorah in Japanese text. Kind of like what you normally see with the Monster Packer 28. You don't get like this elaborate artwork, right? You just maybe get like a picture of what the kit would look like, the Japanese text of the title of the kit, or maybe the film that the kit's a part of, or at least the monster's a part of, and that's pretty much it. But it's not about the packaging, it is about the awesome figure. And I have to say, Marcellus has now become one of my go-to guys. Between him, Marcellus Yang, David Epdopko, John DeSantis, John LeGrand, when it comes to these model kits, he has become one of my go-to guys from moving forward, because he has done a phenomenal job with the 91 here. And that's the backstory about how I got this kit, you know what I'm saying? So let's get up close and personal with this guy. Once again, this is the 40 centimeter, yes, this is a 40 centimeter resin model kit of the Horizon 1991 Godzilla. Speaking of 40 centimeter kits, I've been going after those as of late. I first got the 64 from KOC, built and painted by the wonderful David Epdopko. The KOC 1962, again, built and painted by the awesome David Epdopko. I got the 40 centimeter 1999 KOC Godzilla, and that was built and painted by Marcellus Yang. So these 40 centimeter resin model kits are awesome. They are so awesome. And when it comes to the KOCs, Akira Ibaraki was the guy that sculpted those particular Godzillas. The 40 centimeters, you know what I'm saying? And he did a great job with not only the 64, the 62, the 99. He also did a 40 centimeter 54. But what was interesting is that he did not do a 40 centimeter version of a Heisei Godzilla. And I was like, the 55 is the next one coming, right? And I'm trying to get my hands on that one. But I was puzzled that a Heisei 40 centimeter Godzilla was not coming from KOC. Maybe it will at some point, quite frankly. But I've always said, after collecting these 40 centimeter kits from KOC, that they should do a Heisei 40 centimeter Godzilla, namely the 91. Around the same time that I was able to get this guy, you know what I'm saying? So the stars kind of align in an uncanny way, quite frankly, which is awesome. Maybe KOC will do a 40 centimeter Heisei Godzilla at some point. I'm sure that will be awesome. But in the meantime, this guy is amazing in and of itself. It is so awesome. And again, let's talk about the sculpt. Let's go into the sculpt. This sculpt is all 91. Like, I don't see any embellishments. I don't see any exaggerations. I don't see any over-the-top liberties that were taken with the sculpt. The sculpt looks great. Let's start with the toes. The toes look sharp, you know what I'm saying? They look really good. Maybe there's a little bit in exaggeration, because the 91's toes, because again, the 91 suit is a modified version of the 89 suit. And of course, you got the 4-toe scheme there. That's awesome. That's accurate. But the toes are a little bit sharper than what they should be. The toes are more so rounded on the suit, on the actual suit. So it kind of gives off the GMK vibes with how sharp the claws are on the toes here. But I love that. You know me, I love GMK. So to see variations of the GMK in this version of Godzilla, you're not going to get any complaints out of me. But the feet is sculpted perfectly. The 4 toes, like I said, looks awesome. The toes are a little bit sharper than what they should be. But again, that's something I really don't mind. The tail is super long. Again, that's something that was on the actual suit. The 89 as well as the 91. Might as well say the rest of the Heisei Godzillas had long tails. 84 too. So you have this really long tail, which looks awesome. Oh my God, it looks awesome. The dorsal plates, they look great. They look really great. The small dorsal plates going from the base of the tail all the way to the tip of the tail looks amazing. The main row of dorsal plates on his back looks awesome. If you want to... They look great, don't get me wrong, but the only thing I probably would say as far as like a nitpick, if you want to call it a nitpick, I think it's a nitpick. It's nothing that really brings down the model kit for me, but the shapes are not really super accurate like you would find on a Sakai. They still look Heisei-ish, they still look 91-ish, but they're not really super accurate like they are on the Sakai pieces. That's the only thing I probably would say would probably bring this figure down just a little bit, but still the way Marcellus painted the dorsal plates kind of makes me overlook the fact that the sculpts on the dorsal plates are not truly accurate. But still, I get to the paint job later on, because the paint job is awesome. But The dorsal plates look really, really good, you know, with the big one on Godzilla's back at the base of his back, and then they get smaller as they go down. Again, when I look at the 89 as well as the 91 suit, he kind of reminds me, at least the structure of the monster, kind of reminds me of Titanosaurus with the long neck, right? And the way his back fin, kind of like the way Godzilla's dorsal plates are placed on his back here. He looks like Titanosaurus to me, and I love Titanosaurus. And if Titanosaurus was an inspiration for the structure on how they built this Godzilla, the 89 as well as the 91, then I really do enjoy that. But that's what I see when I see the 89/91. But the placement of the dorsal plates, they look great. Again, they're not super accurate, but they're close enough, and I really do enjoy that. The claws, sharp, you know what I'm saying? The placement of the arms, you know, typical Satsuma, you know, Temperature Satsuma. Or Satsuma, I should say, looks really, really good. The chest, oh my God. And you know what? That's probably the best thing that I love about this Godzilla, is that they gave him a more buffed up chest. Because again, this is a variation of the 89 suit. And the in-story excuse on why he has that buffed up chest, because he got hit with a double dose of radiation. So he ballooned from 80 meters tall to 100 meters tall. And they gave him that buffed up chest to make him look more muscular, more imposing, more powerful, you know what I'm saying? And I love that. I just love that. The way the chest is so big and it's chiseled. Again, he looks like just a muscle-bound, steroid-injected version of Godzilla. And I said this many times before, that this version of Godzilla kind of reminds me of a Brock Lesnar version of Godzilla. And that right there is frightening. Don't believe me? Check this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. Tonight, the reigning, defending, undisputed, universal heavyweight champion, Godzilla!
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? You can't tell me that you can't look at this version of Godzilla and not see Brock Lesnar, or vice versa. You can't see Brock Lesnar and not see this version of Godzilla, because both of these guys are imposing, they're big, they're powerful, and they will rip you to shreds to get their hands on you, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I see. But again, the chest is awesome. The chest is big, it's chiseled really well, sculpted really well. Again, I just love that. Now let's go towards the face, where the face is sculpted. Again, you got the fangs popping out, you got the gums popping out, you know what I'm saying? Which I really do enjoy. And again, this kind of adds more of the ferocity of this version of Godzilla, because this version of Godzilla is more so hateful than the 89 version. Yes, the 89 version was destructive and all that good stuff, but this version of Godzilla, he's more hateful. He just has more aggression inside him that he's dying to unleash, which he does on King Ghidorah in Japan. But again, the modifications that they made from the 91, from the 89, again, the chest and the gums here. The gums, it again, kind of adds that little extra ferocity that this Godzilla has or displays in this film. And I may get some heat from that, but it kind of reminds me of the shark from Jaws 3. Now, say what you want about Jaws 3. It's not the best sequel in the Jaws franchise. You know, some of the special effects shots in that film is really, really questionable. But I actually thought that the look of the shark, the way the shark would have her gums, because the shark was female, have her gums pop out, it just made her look more menacing, more creepy looking. And the same thing goes for Godzilla here, you know what I'm saying? With the gums popping out, the fangs, just shark-like fangs, just popping out, looks really, really good. The eyes are sculpted really well. Again, the shape of the head, you know, again, the shoulders are popping out all thick like, you know, whatever. So again, the sculpt on this guy is perfect. It is all 91. It is awesome. And again, you've heard me say this many times before, when it comes to the model kits, the two most important things when it comes to a model kit that you have to get right is the sculpt and the paint job. And I think the sculpt, with maybe, like I said, a little minor issue with the shape of the dorsal plates, but again, that's not Marcellus' fault. It still looks good, don't get me wrong, but again, it's really noticeable, especially if you are a huge 91 fan like I am, you notice certain things. And again, even though I enjoy the dorsal plates, they're not as super accurate as they are on the Sakai's. But again, they still look great. The paint job Marcellus put on this guy, at least on the dorsal plates, makes me overlook the fact that the dorsal plates are not super accurate. But it's still great dorsal plates nonetheless. Now, the sculpt is awesome. I have no complaints about that. Now let's go to the paint job. And that's where Marcellus Winters comes in. And considering that this is one of his first projects, one of his first commissions, he did a phenomenal job. He knocked this thing out the park. I so love this thing. It is my favorite 91 in my collection. I would dare say it is my favorite 91, or at least Heisei piece in my collection. I have a few Heisei pieces in my collection. I have the gigantic 89. I have the 30cm Space Godzilla. I have the 30cm Mecha Godzilla 93, the 25cm Destroyer. I have the Sakai 84, right? And all of them are great pieces. I have more pieces besides those from the Heisei period. I got a custom-made Biollante from the Heisei period. But I have to say that this is probably my most favorite piece when it comes to the Heisei period. The gigantic 89 from S Plus was my favorite, but I think this one kind of bumps it off. I think this guy bumps off the 89, and he's a solid number 2, which is nothing wrong with number 2. At least you're in the top 5. But this guy, I think, just shout out to number 1 because it is awesome. And that doesn't happen without the awesome paint job courtesy of Marcellus Winters. And considering, again, this is one of his first jobs, and he's getting better as he gets more into doing commissions, which I highly recommend, by the way. If you have a model kit and you need somebody to build a painting for you, besides Mark Sangang, besides David Epdotco, John LeGrand, Ron McKay, John DeSantis, excuse me, all these incredible artists out there, iconic repaints, you know what I'm saying? Hit up Marcellus Winters. As you can see here, the dude knows what he's doing, and he's going to get better as time goes on. But again, not bad for one of his first job, if not his first job. You know what I'm saying? All right, back to the paint job. Typical Heisei Godzilla with the dark charcoal gray on the skin, you know, whatever. He had a few highlights here and there to give it a lot more depth and exuberance. Did a phenomenal job. The way he painted the toes, again, dirty bone white. You have like the dark shading at the base of the toe. Looks really, really great. Again, the claws on his hands, the same type of paint treatment. The dorsal plates, again, I know I've been kind of ragging on dorsal plates. I haven't been ragging too hard, quite frankly. I'm just pointing out that they're not really super accurate. There's nothing really wrong with that. It's not like I'm saying, oh my God, this brings the figure down for me. It really doesn't, but it is noticeable if you're a super, super duper fan of the 91 like I am. But the way he painted these dorsal plates are phenomenal. I think he airbrushed them. I think he airbrushed the dirty bone white coloring on the dorsal plates, and they look phenomenal. They look great. Makes me overlook the fact that the shapes are not really truly accurate. But the way he did it, from the main row of dorsal plates to the side dorsal plates to every single dorsal plate going from the base of his tail to the tip of his tail. Oh my God, Marcellus, you're awesome. I don't know what other ways to say it. You are awesome. I haven't got to the front of him yet, but you are awesome. I gotta say that right now. Oh my God. So so far, the way he painted the charcoal gray skin and dark charcoal gray skin, the way he painted the toes, the claws, the dorsal plates, awesome. Now let's go towards the face. Again, that face is so menacing. That is so 91. The way he painted the gums and they're popping out look great. The dirty, almost yellowish color of his teeth on the upper jaw and the lower jaw looks great. The eyes, you probably can barely make out the eyes because you can barely make out the eyes on the actual suit in Godzilla's King Ghidorah. But the way he painted the eyes looks just like the suit, or at least the animatronic puppet that they would use for close-up shots. Marcellus basically replicated that in the model kit right here. Don't know how he did it because the eyes are so small, but again, that's a testament to how talented this dude is. And again, I can't stress it enough. Consider the fact this is one of his first jobs. It's not his first job. And the way he got the colors right on the skin, the dorsal plates, the teeth, the way he made those eyes all perfect. Oh my God, did he put some dark shading on the eyes? It looks exactly like the 91. More so than the Sakai, in my opinion, except for the dorsal plates. But still, this thing is amazing. From sculpt, my God, the sculpt is amazing from head to claws to feet to the tail to the dorsal plates. Looks phenomenal. Then you add the awesome, pristine, perfect paint job courtesy of the great Marcellus Winters. Oh my God, it's great. It is great. And in fact, he's a sizable model kit too. Again, he's 40 centimeters. He's 40 centimeters tall, which means he roughly is around 15 inches, hovering under the 15.5 inches mark. You know what I'm saying? Looks great. He's 21 inches from the tip of his snout to the tip of his tail. It's a sizable kit, no different than the KOC 40 centimeter 99, 64, and King Ghidorah that I have. So if you have those figures, this guy will fit right in line with those figures, with those model kits, you know what I'm saying? And again, I hope Ibaraki will get around to doing a Heisei 40 centimeter version of Godzilla. But if he doesn't, we're covered because we got this guy right here. This guy is so amazing. So again, thank you to Ed from Kaiju Modeler for selling me this kit. And a huge thank you goes out to Marcellus Winters. Thank you so much, sir, if you're watching. I love you. I really do appreciate it. I'm so glad that we're best friends. And I'm glad that you're now one of my go-to artists now. I have to say that. I got to be honest here because, again, seriously, dude, you did a phenomenal job. You did a phenomenal job with this guy, and I can't wait to see what else you may do in regards to future kits I may get for myself in the future, you know what I'm saying? But that's pretty much it with the backstory, up close and personal with the sculpt, the paint job. It is awesome. So let's do a couple size comparisons before we get up out of here. Now, I mentioned, you know, the S Plus Yuji Sakai 91 Godzillas. I have two of them because they made three of them. They have the 91, the Hokkaido version, Hokkaido landing version, They have the Abashiri Fierce Battle version that I got earlier this year. That was the third one. I had the second one, the Shinjuku landing version, but I sent soda because that one didn't really look right to me. So I had the first one. I have the third one. So let's bring them all together with this 91 and see how all the 91s I have in my collection look in this first size comparison. So let's do that, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Okay, folks, this is the first size comparison. Yes. This makes me so happy because you already know I'm a huge fan of the 91 Godzilla. Again, the 64 was not in my top favorite spot of my favorite version of Godzilla. I will so have the 91 in that spot because this thing is amazing. Yes, it is. And these are all the representations of the 91 I have in my collection. Of course, you have the man in the hour in the middle, the 40 centimeter resin model kit of the Horizon 91 Godzilla. Of course, on the left, I have the 30 centimeter X Plus Yuji Sakai Hokkaido landing version of the 91 Godzilla. And of course, to the far right, I have the Fierce Battle Abashiri version, the third one from the X Plus Yuji Sakai line of the 91 Godzilla. And as you can see, they look well together. This is great. This is so great of finally having all the 91s in my collection all in one shot. And as you can see, the Horizon, in a way, kind of blows the other ones out the water. You know what I'm saying? The only thing, like I said, I would say that the Sakai has over the Horizon is just the shapes of the dorsal plates. I know I keep going back to that, but again, since I'm a huge, super duper fan of the 91, I'm going to be a lot more critical than I am, let's say, of the legendary Godzilla or the 95, stuff like that. You know, I enjoy those versions of Godzilla, but I'm able to let things slide on those particular versions of Godzilla because they're not really my favorites. The 64 and the 91 are. So again, I hate to go back to that, but it is noticeable, quite frankly. But still, the way Marcellus painted the dorsal plates just make me overlook that. And this is great to see this new version of the 91 tower over the other 91s, because technically the Sakais are technically 30 centimeters. They're kind of hovering under the 30 centimeter mark, more like maybe 11 or 12, 11 and a half inches tall. But again, the Horizon is straight 40 centimeters. You probably can pass for a gigantic if you really think about it, because the gigantic GMK as well as the gigantic 2000, they're like at the 40 centimeter mark, you know what I'm saying? But again, this model kit is amazing. The model kit is amazing. You probably were wondering how I rank them. Well, again, this 91 is my favorite Heisei piece in my collection, hands down. So you already know that he's my top favorite 91 here in this shot. The second favorite would have to be the Abashiri Fierce Battle version, the third Sakai that just came out. And this is something you're not going to hear very often, but the Hokkaido landing version is like my least favorite, which is something you don't hear often, because a lot of people look at that figure as one of the best figures that S Plus has ever done. at least ever released, I should say, because technically it's not their release, or at least their sculpt. It's Sakai sculpt, technically. A lot of people looked at that figure as one of the best ones that S Plus has ever done. And they're not wrong. They're not wrong for feeling that way. But for me, in this shot, the Horizon takes the cake. And I like the Abashiri Fist Battle version of the 91 more so than the Hokkaido. So that's why the Hokkaido is last in this comparison. But still, I'm glad to have these 91s in my collection. They are all awesome. But to me, the cream of the crop, the best of the best, the ones that tower, the one that towers over the Sakais, literally towers over the Sakais in terms of sculpt and detail and size, I got to give it to the Horizon because they have done a phenomenal job with that. Yes, yes, yes. So that's it with the first size comparison. So let's do one more size comparison. And you know what? Since this Godzilla is from one of my most favorite Godzilla films of all time, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, he's not in the film by himself. He fights another monster. So you know where I'm going with the net size comparison. You already know. And I have a certain gigantic size version of the monster he fought, the three-headed dragon, awesome dragon known as King Ghidorah. So let's bring up the Spiral Studios gigantic size version of Monster Zero 2019, aka King Ghidorah 2019. And let's see how he pairs up against this guy right here in the last size comparison. So let's do that, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Okay, folks, here we are with the last size comparison, and yes, alongside the 40cm resin model kit of the Horizon 1991 Godzilla, I have against him the Spiral Studios gigantic size Ultimate Masterline Battle in Boston blah 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 the Spiral Studios King Ghidorah, aka Monster Zero 2019. And oh man, this is so cool. For the longest time, I've wanted a really cool setup of this movie, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. And I got it earlier when I first got the Spiral Studios King Ghidorah. I paired up my gigantic 1989 X Plus Godzilla figure up against King Ghidorah to try to recreate that setup. And it looked great. It really does look great. But I have the custom-made Biollante, Rose Form Biollante, and I didn't want to fluctuate between setups between Biollante and King Ghidorah here. So my X Plus Gigantic 89 is going to be with my Biollante, whereas this Godzilla is going to be up against King Ghidorah. And as you can see here, this is great. I think this is accurate to the film because King Ghidorah was twice as big as Godzilla in the film. But don't get it twisted. Just because King Ghidorah is the bigger monster of the two, he's actually the underdog. Godzilla is the one that's more dangerous than King Ghidorah in this scenario because again, this Godzilla is bigger, he's more powerful, he's got the nuclear radiation steroid injection inside of him. So again, he's the more dangerous of the two. But this is a cool setup between both monsters here, even though this King Ghidorah is not the same King Ghidorah from 1991. But in a way, you kind of can see the 91 in the MonsterVerse King Ghidorah. You know, with the horns on the side of his head and the fact he doesn't have hair on the side of his head like the Showa version of King Ghidorah. So this can pass for a 91 King Ghidorah, even though technically it's not the 91. But I think this setup here is cool. And again, as being a huge fan of 1991's Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, this is a cool setup. It's a really great setup. So that's pretty much it with all the size comparisons between the 91 and now King Ghidorah here. Between the two setups, I think I like this one the most. But you can pair this Godzilla with other figures. I'll touch more on that momentarily in the final commentary portion of the video. But for the time being, you can't deny seeing these two monsters together is awesome, and it makes me want to go watch the movie. And I think I will once I cut this video together. Alright, that's it with the final size comparisons between Godzilla and King Ghidorah to set up this awesome setup for Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. So let's go to the final commentary portion of the video with my final thoughts of the 40cm resin model kit of the Horizon 1991 Godzilla. So let's do that, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Okay, folks, I'm back with my final thoughts of the 40cm resin model kit of the Horizing 1991 Godzilla from Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Once again, 10 out of 10. I know I've been kind of nitpicking about the dorsal plates, at least the shapes of the dorsal plates, but even that is not enough to count that against this model kit. This thing is stunning. It is amazing. It is brilliant. It's spectacular. Marcellus Winters, you did a phenomenal job, a fabulous job, a breathtaking, awesome job with building and painting this guy, and I really do appreciate it. The sculpt is flawless in my opinion. It screams 91. The paint job is equally flawless, and it screams 91. And again, with this sculpture, it basically shot up right up to the top of my favorite Heisei collectible in my collection. I'm sorry, X Plus Gigantic 89. I'm looking at you when I'm saying this. I'm looking you in the eye. I'm sorry. You're still a great figure, but you're not the 91. And I think that goes back to far as like my favorite of suits, because in my top 10, again, this one is a number 2 behind the 64 or 1.5, because he is that close of being number 1. I think the 89 is like maybe 8 or 9 of my top 10 favorite Godzilla suits designs, right? Which is still cool that he still made the top 10, but I love the 91 so much, much, much more. And again, the way Horizon made this kit, sculpted this kit, the way Marcellus brilliantly painted this kit, it shot up right to the top of my favorite Heisei collectible. It is so amazing. And again, you saw the size comparisons. You saw this guy up against the other Sakai 91s. You saw it up against the Spiral Studios King Ghidorah. And they're both are great setups. But you can also pair this guy up against the 30cm X Plus Batra. Because remember, in Godzilla vs. Mothra, not Godzilla and Mothra Battle for Earth, we're not doing that, ladies and gentlemen. I hate that title. It sucks. It's garbage. We should put that thing in the ocean, never to return. Okay, it's called Godzilla vs. Mothra. But in that film, remember, and I've said this many times before, whenever I do talk about the 91, when you look closely at that scene where the larval form of Batra fights Godzilla in the water under the ocean, that is really the 91 suit. The 92 suit doesn't really make an appearance until later on in the film. You see it in the beginning of the film, but the one that fights the larval form of Batra in the ocean under the water, technically, and the Godzilla that descends from Mount Fuji, that is a 91 suit. So you can actually put this guy up against the 30cm Batra, and that setup looks great. Or like I said, if you have the other 40cm KOC model kits, the 54, the 62, the 64, the 99, he looks great up against them, or right with them, you know what I'm saying? And again, I hope Ibaraki, we're getting around, after the 55 comes out, I hope he does a Heisei 40cm Godzilla model kit, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure that would sell like hotcakes, you know what I'm saying? But again, if he does do that, he's going to have a hard time beating this guy, because this guy is a great 40cm kit, you know what I'm saying? And again, he pairs well with the other 40cm KOC kits, and I'm torn. I am so torn. I have never been so torn like this in my life when it comes to collectibles, because I have the KOC 40cm 64 Godzilla, and that thing is awesome too. That thing is so amazing. And when I put this guy up against that one, do not ask me which one do I like more over the other one. Ordinarily, you would know, or I would ordinarily say the 64 is head and shoulders above the rest. I can't say that between this 91 and that 64. I can't do it. So please don't ask me. Don't ask me in the comment section. Don't ask me on Facebook. Go Jerk Everything1. Don't ask me in my private chat. Please don't stump me like that. Please don't do it, because I'm torn between this guy and the KOC 64, as well as the other KOC 40cm that I have. Oh my God, that's how great this thing is. This is how great and awesome the sculpt is. This is how great Marcellus Winters painted this thing. It is amazing. And again, the fact that this is one of his first jobs, or his first job, really impressed me. And again, he's one of my go-to guys when it comes to building and painting model kits. So again, I cannot stress this enough. If you have a model kit out there and you don't know how to paint it yourself, and of course you have plenty of options to choose from, as far as like artists in our community that wouldn't mind helping you build and painting it. You got, again, David Erb.co, you got Mark St. Yang, you got John LeGrand, you got John DeSantis, you have Iconic Repaints, you know what I'm saying? You have all these wonderful people out there that I'm sure would love to build and paint these kits for you for a slight fee. Because they don't do things for free, but for a slight fee, you know what I'm saying? And you could definitely add Marcellus Winters onto that list, you know what I'm saying? Look at this guy. How can you not see this and not want to contact that guy to have him build and paint a model kit for you? Because his skills are so amazing. So thank you to Marcellus. I really do appreciate it. I love you, sir. Whenever you're not dressed like a James Bond villain, thank you so much for making this happen for me. And I'm looking forward to future collaborations when it comes to you building and painting model kits, whatever I may require in the future. And also again, thank you to Ed, to Kaiju Modeler, for making this thing happen. And again, the 1991 Godzilla. This is normally around a part of the video where I talk about the film. I'm going to be real brief with it because I know I probably have talked a lot so far in this video. But again, I love this movie. This movie, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, is kind of like Godzilla vs. Guy Again. And Godzilla vs. Guy Again, as you know, is my second favorite Godzilla film of all time. So 91 is behind Godzilla vs. Guy Again. And like Guy Again, I understand the issues that this film has. You know what I'm saying? I know it can be problematic. I know this film, at least the plot of this film, the convoluted plot of this film has really gotten on a lot of Godzilla fans' bad side. Some fans don't like this movie. Some fans call this movie overrated. I understand that, but again, like Guy Again, despite its problems, despite its issues, despite the setbacks or the amazingly big plot holes in this film, I still love it. I still enjoy it. And again, it does make me less of a Godzilla fan. But I will admit that I do wish that the story involving Godzilla and King Ghidorah come together for the first and only time in this illustrious franchise. I do wish that the story could have been better, or should have been better, or bringing these two together. But again, what I appreciate about this film is the fact that, again, we get an origin story of sorts of Godzilla, less than with King Ghidorah. Not really feeling the origin of King Ghidorah in this film, but I kind of forget about that once he comes on the screen, because that version of King Ghidorah is awesome. You know what I'm saying? And I love how in this film, with this version of Godzilla, again, they just took an already awesome suit with the 89, made some slight modifications of it, and just made him look even more badass and more imposing. You know what I'm saying? And aside from the look of Godzilla, when it comes to the story, again, I told you many times before that I love how in this story that basically Godzilla and King Ghidorah swap places, where in the beginning they look to Godzilla as a savior to take out an evil King Ghidorah, but then once Godzilla starts attacking Japan on his own, then they have to rely on King Ghidorah to take out an evil Godzilla. You know what I'm saying? So I love that. But really, when it comes down to it, and again, I know the time travel plot in this film really is not the best in the world, but again, it's time travel, so you're gonna unravel some loopholes. I think even the most sophisticated time travel films, at least the ones that are most popular, I'm sure even Terminator 2 Judgment Day, which is regarded, or at least the original Terminator, and those two films are regarded as the best, at least one of the best sci-fi action movies of all time, quite frankly, Terminator and Terminator 2. But I'm sure when you sit down and really think about those films, I'm sure you can find some plot holes in that film, because again, it's in regards to time travel. And again, time travel does not exist. So again, I think when you sit down and think about it, you will find some loopholes, no different than Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. But again, I'm able to look past those loopholes, because again, I think the movie is great. I think it's cool for what it is. And when it regards to Godzilla, again, the movie is revolved around them wanting to remove Godzilla, to erase him from history. But through it all, Godzilla found a way to come back. So I love how in this film, Godzilla is elevated from a sheer monster to an almost godlike entity that will appear no matter what. And I love that. So the next time you watch Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, I understand the problems. I understand the time travel issues. I would say not try to look at it, try to worry about that too much. But appreciate the backstory with King Ghidorah. Appreciate the backstory with Godzilla. And appreciate how Godzilla, again, long before Thanos was inevitable, Godzilla himself is inevitable, and it doesn't matter if you try to get rid of him, erase him from history, somehow, some way, the awesome King of the Monsters will come back. And I think that's probably the message in regards to this film. You know what I'm saying? The best message in regards to this film. You know what I'm saying? But again, I love this movie. I love this rendition of the 91 Godzilla. Again, it's my favorite in my collection. It is shout out to my favorite Heisei collectible in my collection. And that does not happen without the awesome Marcellus Winters, as well as Ed from Kaiju Modeler for making this happen for me. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Yes, yes, yes. So that pretty much concludes my review of the 40cm resin model kit of the Horizon 1991 Godzilla from one of my most favorite Godzilla films of all time. Number 3, in fact, on my top 10 favorite Godzilla films list. 1991's Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. If you have any questions, have it down in the comment section. Hit me on Facebook via Let's Be Champions. We'll definitely go from there. Yes, once again, this is great. Go Jura 851. I know you're out there. I know you was inquiring about this figure a while back. And let me just tell you, my man, if you're able to get it, get it. Because I know you're a huge 91 fan like I am. Man, get the money together. I don't care. Don't spend too much for it. As I always say to my subscribers or whoever watches this video, don't go overboard with the investment. Again, I would say I looked into it, but I was able to find it way after the fact. No different than the KOC 62. No different than the KOC 99. No different than the KOC 64 that I have. You know what I'm saying? So if I can do it, you can do it. So again, go Jared 851. If you're able to find this guy in the wild, please secure it. And in my opinion, send it to Marcellus. I'm sure he'd be happy to build and paint it for you, or to anybody else who may have a figure or a model kit or some type of project that, you know, needs building and painting. I highly recommend, I highly endorse Marcellus Winters, because he is awesome. He did a fabulous job with this guy. Yes, yes, yes. If you have not seen the last of Marcellus inspired projects on my channel, not the next video, but coming soon, he did 2 gigantic size customized versions of the gargantuan Sanda and Gara. Yes, he did, and I have them in my collection. So that will be a video that will coming real soon. And again, I will sing the praises of Marcellus Winters in that video as well, because he did a phenomenal job with those custom gargantuas. You know what I'm saying? They are awesome. But again, I cannot thank Marcellus Winters enough. Again, thank you, good sir. I really do appreciate it. Stop dressing like a James Bond villain. Stop doing that. No, I'm just joking. You fly when you dress all good and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You're fly. You're a fly dresser, and you're also a fly modeler, builder, kit builder, and painter. You know what I'm saying? Because again, this is amazing. This is so, so, so amazing, and I highly endorse this kit, and I highly endorse Marcellus Winters for making it. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I finally give to you the 40cm resin model kit of the Horizon 1991 Godzilla from its epic appearance in 1991's Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Yes, yes, yes. I thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see y'all again on the next figure move review. All right? Y'all take it easy. Just get the kit. Get the kit and contact Marcellus. He'll hook you up just like you did me. Okay, bye.